Hello, everyone. Welcome back to Talking Star Wars EU. And I'm joined with someone who has really been amazing in the community, a positive voice, and in music and in DJing circles, there is something called the MC, the Master of Ceremonies. And I think of Stevie as the MI, the Master of Interviews. And he has all these interviews on his channel with all the YouTube creators you've heard of, as well as the authors for Star Wars and some of the actors. And he's just done amazing things. His interviews are amazing. So I'm going to attempt to interview the master of interviews within Star Wars today. And it's such an honor to be joined by Mr. Stevie B, Star Wars Stevie. So thank you so much for joining me for this today.
Well, thanks for having me, Brennan. I appreciate it very much. And you, my friend, are the one that's got the talent and skill with everything you provide for the community.
Well, I appreciate the kind words. But me and Stevie did a video a while ago that I just wanted to mention before we get into our talking points here on collecting about a year ago. So he was on the channel before. It was a lot of fun where we got to talk about collecting for 30 minutes or so. And it was a blast.
It was a great time. Yeah. Thrill of the hunt, trying to hunt down books and going to the thrift shops. And
we talked a bit about the toys on there too.
Yeah, a little bit about collecting toys. That was a good. We should revisit that. We should do an updated version of that sometime.
Our best finds since then.
Yes. Well, look at that shelf behind you. Holy moly!
And look at that setup. All the figures, the books, everything.
Well, it's fun. You know that. Like we talked about, it's a great time, and especially when you find something. Actually, the other day I found my first Junior Jedi Knights book. Promises.
Yeah.
And I was super stoked for that because I don't I don't own any of them yet, but now I got one, so I'm like, yes.
That's the green one, right? It's green with the is there a crate dragon on that?
Yeah,
I think maybe
Tahiri and Anakin are on the cover. Yep.
Yeah. So good.
So I'm excited to finish getting them.
Yeah, it takes a while.
Yeah, I know.
Some of these are really hard to find. So yeah, so exciting when we're able to find some of them out there.
Yeah, in good condition too. It was in really good shape. So that's because them books are old. You know, and they were kids' books. And most kids, you know, sometimes you buy them and they got their name with crayon on the. Like, okay, but I understand. And
not all kids are careful. So big gash here. They were probably in backpacks, you know, going around schools. Crumbs and stains and all kinds of stuff. So
folded pages.
Oh yeah, couple like that. So talking Star Wars EU is just kind of an informal series where we get to learn more about different people in the fandom who come on. And the first question that I always ask, sticking to the formula, is what is your first memory of Star Wars?
Off the top of my head right away, I remember being in my room watching it repeatedly on VHS tape. My aunt had we used to have dual VCR players so you could record, right?
Yep.
So, and there's a way to set the timing so you can actually fit. I had actually all three of the original trilogy on one VHS tape.
Wow.
Yeah.
And that's a big VHS tape.
Yes. It would I would replay it all the time. I would fall asleep to it. So like right off the top of my head, when you ask me that, it's just the movies, just the original trilogy, just being blown away with everything happening and the lightsabers. Like I was just impressed.
Yeah.
You know, and then after that, it was like the toys, as you just going in the stores and seeing them on the shelves. And there used to be so many.
Yeah.
So many toys, not like today. Not like today at all. It's changed so much, and it's kind of unfortunate, in my opinion, for kids. You know, not just for us as collectors, right? But like for the younger kids going up and just checking out all these different toys. There's just not a lot anymore. In the store, you know, like Toys R Us. I don't know if you've had one of them in your area, but that was a big deal. That
Big
was like,
casualty there.
yes, they used to have rows, like a whole aisle of Star Wars
It
toys.
was magical in there.
Oh man, I used to love going there.
Yeah.
Nostalgia. That's nostalgia. So that's really my early memories, is just watching the films over and over again, and then getting toys when I could and just reenacting with and I always took care of my toys too. I always took care of them. I was never one of them kids that was like, I never did that.
Smashing them together.
No, because I tried to recreate, so I would move them, and very, well, I don't want to say gently, but like they were real,
Yeah.
right? Like it was
You
the
were
real.
deliberate in the
Yeah.
actions that you did with them. Yeah.
Yes. So that, like, just thinking about that back, that was such a great time.
Mm.
It was fun. It was enjoyable.
Definitely. I love that we all kind of come from different avenues, and whether it's toys, whether it's books, whether it's video games, everyone kind of held on to Star Wars via different means. And I just think that's really, really cool. And the toys, especially, are just great for like imagination, like you're saying, just the reenacting of scenes that we enjoyed.
That was yeah.
So
And
fun.
and as a kid, you don't really understand the story of what's being told.
Yeah.
The flashy stuff, all the characters and the costumes, like you didn't really understand the deeper meaning that it actually has.
Yeah.
And it was made for kids. Like George said, he made it for kids, and I could, as a kid, that's what all grabbed our attention, was
Mm.
just the flashiness. But then as you get older and you can kind of start, your mind develops a little more, you start to understand things. It's like, there's also something behind all the cool
Mm.
stuff happening
Yeah.
that's really got meaning.
For sure. So, with that in mind, what was younger Stevie, kid Stevie? What was his favorite of the Star Wars films? Which did he gravitate towards when he was viewing it as more flashy? And now, what would his favorite be now that he's found the deeper meaning to some of the storylines?
Ooh. I would have to say Return of the Jedi was my favorite, just because Luke, like when he first comes in to Jabba's palace and he's all in black. I thought that
Yeah.
was so cool. I
Oh,
thought that was
he's
so cool.
awesome.
Yeah, he just looks so BA to me. And then later on, when he's on the skiff and he hits the green lightsaber, like, that blew my mind.
Yeah.
It's like, that, I want that. That was so cool. And the Ewoks, and it was fun, and it was like the beginning of it was like a little mini movie all on its own with the Jabba situation. Like, and then it turns in, right?
Yep.
But now that I'm older, well, go back a second. Also, I used to watch the Ewok movies as a kid a lot too.
You were
So
aware of them as a kid.
yeah, oh yeah, I had them on tape too. So the Ewoks was like a big thing for me growing up too,
Yeah.
because I mean, yeah, obviously there's some people that are like, oh, the Ewoks, blah. No, they're cool,
Yeah.
right? They play their part. They have their purpose. But now that I'm older, I really Return of the Jedi is there, but I think A New Hope, just because
Mhm.
it really sets the stage for that story. Like I was talking about, as you get older, the
Yeah.
hero, right? It's setting up the hero, the good guy, Luke, his journey. He does the right thing. And it's just, that's the movie I turn on all the time now. When I
Yeah.
throw in a Star Wars movie, if I want to fall asleep at night, New Hope, hands
Is
down.
it kind of a comfort movie at this
Yeah,
point?
yeah, I
Yeah.
would say so. Absolutely. It's
I feel that way with all of them in their own little way. It's like all got a spot in your heart, you know?
It does. It does. And there's not, I'm not, I know I haven't mentioned Empire Strikes Back at all yet, because they're all great. All three of them are A plus, top tier, S tier, whatever tier you want to put them on. They're on the top, all three of them.
Yeah.
But it was them too. The Hoth scene was really cool too. I always like to play out in
Mm.
the snow with my figures when it's like, okay, it's Hoth season now, so I can go outside with my toys. But I always took care of them too. I dried them off and stuff. I didn't.
That's so cool.
Yeah, man, I'm
Is
thinking
it
about that now. I haven't thought of that in a long time.
So just out in the snow, with the figures down.
Yep.
Oh
Create little
man.
trenches in the snow,
Oh
having them
yes.
up. Yeah.
Yeah, the
That
rebels
was
in the
fun.
trenches. Oh, that
Yeah.
would be amazing.
I didn't have a lot of the vehicles as a kid because they were pricey back then.
Yeah.
So I had the land speeder.
Mm.
What else did I have? One of the scout bikes with the scout trooper. I had that. I didn't have none of the big ships. I had the Luke's T-16 Skyhopper.
Right.
I always wanted the Falcon.
Hmm.
I have it now,
Yeah.
2 of them, but and the X-wing. I finally got my X-wing from the Power of the Force.
Amazing.
Yes. Yeah.
So you were more of a figures guy just because of cost back in the day, or were you
Yeah.
just always more gravitated towards the characters rather than what they would be driving or flying?
Yeah. It was the cost thing, right? I mean, back then, I think the sticker is actually on the Millennium Falcon box that I have, and I think it was $49.99.
Yeah.
But that's now you think back to the early '90s, what that would be like wages wise. Right
Yep.
now, I was just a kid, and so I understood. But I also was into video games and other stuff too. So I had to, pick and choose kind of what
Yep.
I wanted for Christmas or what
Mhm.
have you, or for a birthday. Because video games like Sega Genesis was coming out back then, and
Yeah.
Super
Any
Nintendo.
Star Wars on those video games back then?
I played Shadows of the Empire a little bit, but I was terrible at it, so that upset me. So if you're a gamer and
Hard game.
if you can't get past levels, you get upset. That's about the end of that situation,
Yeah. It
right?
I'm horrible at video games. I spent 3 months on The Force Unleashed. One of my friends was making fun of me for that. They were like, "Yeah, I beat hard mode on 3 days," and they were like, "How long did it take you?" And I was like, "3 months." And they're like, "Oh, well, that's not great." And they were like, "Hard mode?" And I was like, "No, I was on easy."
Yeah, yeah.
I'm just not very good.
No, and then I I wanted to play Knights of the Old Republic. I own it, but now I didn't play it back then, right? Because I was out of the fandom. Like life, things happen in life, and you grow.
Yep.
I had different interests. I had a kid when I was in high school, so like I had to change direction, right? I
Yeah.
had to take care of business. Now I had a responsibility. I have it now, but it's just trying to find the time to play it
Yeah.
because there's so much other stuff going on. Like I'm reading a lot. My kids are got stuff going on. I work. There's I One day I want to play it though because I
Yeah.
want that story. I want more in depth of the story, and I hear you get a lot of that from the
You
game.
really do.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's a time-consuming game, challenging due to the controls. Um, but you've mentioned the original trilogy,
Yeah.
that you loved on the VHS that you'd recorded it onto one giant, uh, awesome
The Mega
3-in-1
VHS.
combo.
Yep.
Yeah, a mega VHS, and you loved that, and what did you think when the prequel started to come out? Because
Oh man.
you're presumably a little bit older, and you were feeling the hype around, like, current Star Wars. So what
Yes.
was that like?
The Phantom Menace was insane. That was wild. I was in high school. Oh man, it like blew up everywhere.
Mm.
And billboards,
Yeah.
soda cans or pop
Yep.
cans, wherever you're from, however you
Have
want
one
to
over
deem it.
there.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, I remember. Yeah, your collection. That's cool, by the way. Jump off
Thank you.
subject. That's pretty amazing and impressive, by the way. That's cool. Some of that stuff is worth money, I believe. Like old vintage.
Yep.
Like there's collectors out there that like bottles and such. So that's cool.
Definitely.
Yeah, Doritos bags, Taco Bell. I actually
Yeah.
have a like we'll call it the Happy Meal from Taco Bell. They were Star Wars boxes. I actually have one
That's
and
amazing.
put away. Yeah, that's still in pretty good shape considering how old that is.
Yeah. That's
It
an
was
awesome item to have in a collection. That's
Yeah,
so cool.
and there was a sweepstakes too, I believe that you could write in and win something possibly. I don't remember the whole what it is, but I have a little stack of the pamphlets and it's got Darth Maul on it, Taco Bell and all the, where you put your information. So that's pretty cool to have too.
So it was just everywhere, on everything.
The toys, the 3 3/4 toys, that episode 1, like that was back. So like the Power of the Force was a thing in the, early mid 90s.
Yeah, 95, 96 in there.
And then all of a sudden that was kind of it for my recollection. And then all of a sudden episode 1 comes out. And now we're just massive amounts of toys again, which I have some of them, which, man, them are so cool too. I know Arthur, he's recently done a toy video, which was really cool. And I learned some stuff from him about stuff because I don't have any of like the comic book legacy collection packs.
The comic packs.
Like, I missed out.
Super expensive, unfortunately.
Crazy expensive. Crazy.
Hundreds. Talking, almost 4 figures for a couple of the packs.
Yeah. That's wild.
Yeah.
I do have Shadows of the Empire dual pack with Shizor and Vader and the comic book, and it's all sealed in really good shape.
Yeah, that's a cool
I actually
pack.
got a killer deal on that. I got it for $15 shipped.
Wow.
In like mint condition.
Oh.
Mint condition.
That's amazing.
I would like to get the IG-88 or and Boba Fett, right?
I think he's with Boba Fett.
Yeah. There's a 2. Yeah. I'd like to get that one just to have the Shadows of the Empire like complete set of toys.
Yeah. And as of the recording on this day, Stevie's put out a great video that I've started watching with Max, talking all about toys. Yes. So all of this stuff and more is over there. So make sure to check that out. Sorry.
Yeah, that was fun. We're gonna do more. We're definitely gonna do more of them because that was a good time. And big collectors in the toys. But the Phantom Menace, man, when you see Darth Maul, like I just remember that Darth Maul. Well, for one, Obi-Wan and Qui-Gon, right? We get another Jedi. We get like, who's this guy now? Looking awesome with his long hair,
with his long
goatee.
Yeah. Yep.
Real smooth, all calm and stuff. But then Darth Maul, like that whole when the doors slide open and he's standing there and he hits that lightsaber, man. And
it goes both ways. Not
everybody
just one.
Went crazy, dude. Crazy. That
must have been a really fun theater experience. Was that opening night or opening weekend?
Opening weekend. Yeah.
Opening weekend?
I didn't do the late. I think I actually had to work. And then we went after work. So it was like probably midnight, I want to say, when we got done. So whatever time that was, the 10.
So still excitement 10. Opening weekend, just pure energy for the people watching.
Yeah, it was packed.
That's amazing.
It was packed.
Theater experiences aren't like that anymore, unfortunately, it seems like.
No, and, I have mixed thoughts on that. Because it is nice being able to watch things in the comfort of your own home.
Streaming's great for that. Yeah.
Yeah. You can pause it.
Yeah.
Go to the bathroom. Don't have to worry about waiting in line because that sucked too when the theater was jammed because you want to get back to the movie because there's no pause at the movie when you're at the theater. No. Or get some snacks or eat what you want. So I'm mixed about it. It's been a long time since I've been to a movie, but they're not like they used to be ever since, things happened in the world and COVID shut a lot of stuff down. So,
yeah.
But the streaming stuff is kind of, I think, where the direction everything is. Yeah. Because I believe some streaming services, you can actually watch like a new release.
Like, you just pay extra for, and to watch the same day.
Yeah. So, I mean, there's that benefit to it too, or you can have your friends come over. You can do like a watch party thing.
Yep.
I know a lot of people do like watch party stuff online, which is
super
cool.
Fun. Yeah,
it's all good as long as everybody's
lots of
having
positives
fun.
To streaming.
Yeah. So, and then after that, like I don't really remember Attack of the Clones. Like I don't know if
the promotion wasn't as like
there. It just it wasn't. From what I can remember, it wasn't like episode 1. Like episode 1 really I don't think they're, in my opinion, maybe Lord of the Rings
Mm.
had that same
That came
level.
out around the same time.
Yeah,
Yeah.
like the same level, but like promotion wise and being everywhere, I don't think nothing's touched what the Phantom Menace episode 1 has done.
It was just felt global. It felt everywhere.
Yeah. Yes.
That would have
So
been amazing.
to me, my opinion, my thought to this day is that's still like nothing's compared to that.
Mm.
Nothing. I don't think any other movie franchises had that.
Mm.
Not to that level.
Yeah. It
So
it just sounds like it was an awesome time to be alive. Like excitement everywhere. Sounds amazing. And then Revenge of the Sith as well was just kind of not as there like Attack of the Clones.
yeah, from what I can remember. Now I can be wrong. But like, yeah, I don't think the hype was there, obviously. But then I believe there was a lot of mixed reviews back then in the with everything going on too.
Mm.
From
For the prequels and
yeah,
stuff like
for
that. Yeah.
there was a lot of people that didn't like the prequels
Yeah.
for some reason, which is that's their deal.
Which now the prequels are kind of a golden boy a little bit.
Yeah.
They're really thought of as being really great now. I really love how they've aged well. It's
Yes.
been very pleasing.
Yeah, actually the other day I watched a video with Ewan McGregor and Hayden Christensen, and it was kind of, they were sitting at a table, and then they were asked questions, and on the table they had to slide their glass, like to agree, strongly agree,
Right. Yeah.
disagree.
I've seen videos like that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and that was one of the questions about how they aged. If they aged well, and they both said strongly agree, and they said, if they just needed time, apparently,
Mm,
to really set in and connect, and
mm,
like now it's, yeah, I'm glad them guys get a lot of credit now for what they've done for us.
definitely. Especially Hayden Christensen.
Yeah.
Like I feel mixed on him. Is he the greatest actor in the world? Probably not, but he was perfect for Anakin, in my opinion.
Perfect.
I thought he was good in the role.
Yeah.
And he didn't deserve the hate he got. So now that he's experiencing the love today is really,
It's
really
awesome.
good.
And he gets emotional about it.
He does,
And
yeah.
and then that kind of touched me too, because it's like the guy, he, in my opinion, did a good job. Even
Yeah.
Jake Lloyd, I know he got a lot of crap.
I thought he was perfectly fine as Anakin.
Yeah.
Nothing wrong with him.
No.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I don't know, but I'm just glad it's set in now, and they're getting the props that they deserve, because they added a lot for us. Like, I can't picture anyone else being Obi-Wan than Ewan.
No.
I can't.
Nope.
Well, I mean Alec Guinness, but that's different, right?
Yeah.
And same for Anakin. I can't picture anyone else besides Hayden Christensen.
No.
Like, I've
He
tried.
just is. He's Anakin.
And he'll always be Anakin.
Hmm.
So I'm was very pleased with that turnout, and them getting what they deserve.
Definitely. So it sounds like you're a pretty big prequels fan then. For the prequel trilogy. How's it stacked to the original? Can't quite touch it. Almost up there.
That's a tough question.
Yeah.
That is. The originals are always going to be special to me.
Yeah.
Because that was I was the perfect age. Mm-hmm. Obviously, I wasn't born yet when the first one came out. But they register a lot more with me, because that's what I had for so long. And that's what I would watch. And I grew to, attach to them characters. Yeah. But the prequels are, I think they're great. I've actually grown to like Attack of the Clones more than I've had. Right? Like, it wasn't my favorite of the prequels.
Right.
Like, Phantom Menace is my favorite, just because that hype and being there and the excitement and Maul and Qui-Gon, that was all wild. And then the Attack of the Clones was kind of like, meh. And then Revenge of the Sith was like, what? And then you get that story. It felt like the story was complete now. Right? You see how Anakin became Darth Vader.
Yeah.
But after reading the novelizations of Attack of the Clones, like it really added more to it for me,
Yeah.
if that
R.A.
makes sense.
Salvatore.
Yeah, great
There's
book.
some scenes in there that just add depth to it. Some Tuscan stuff in there, if I recall, that really
Hmm.
adds some weight to it, especially. And the dialogue doesn't read as kind of bad
Yeah,
at times
it's
with
not as
the love
clunky.
stuff. Yeah,
Right, it's not as
it's
clunky.
easier.
Yeah, and you get a little more with Shmi and
Yep.
her, what happened there,
Yeah.
right? So yeah, that was actually all the movie novelizations are good. I think a lot. I recommend. Like I was thinking about. Well, I'll talk about it now. I thought about doing like a video
Mm.
to like recommend them. I know a lot of people do book recommendations for Star Wars, so I'll just say it here since I'm talking to you, and you know, like you got the knowledge, my friend. So, but you should start with the Heir to the Empire trilogy
Mm.
and like, right, okay, I get all that, and that's great, but read the novelizations, the movie,
Mm.
the prequel ones, even the original ones. Read them.
Yeah.
They add more to the films, and you already have that mindset. Like you can already picture the characters, and you already know the scenes because you've watched the movies. But there's a little extra in each one that adds to it.
It expands the universe.
Yeah. So there's a recommendation right here on the channel. Check
So
out the movie novelization.
that is a question that I had for later, which is, what would you recommend as a starting place for people interested in the expanding universe? And you'd point to the movie novelizations as a place that you got to go to first.
Yeah, the reason why, because if you're not an avid reader,
Mm.
okay, some people they're
Yeah.
not hardcore readers like you or myself or the following that you have. So, like I kind of mentioned, it's like you already have that image. Like, why do I want to read the book? I can watch the movie. Well, yeah, but now add to the movie in your head, which
Yeah.
makes it a little easier. You already got the characters, you already got the scene set, the stage, but now here's a little extra dialogue that you didn't catch. Like
Mm.
Revenge of the Sith
Has a lot of that.
blew me away. Like I was
Yes.
excited to read that book because everyone says that's a must to read. And it's a movie novelization.
It's so impressive. There's like half of the book's expanded universe and half the book's the movie. Mr.
Yeah.
Stover put so much in there. I I told him at Legends Con, I think I've said this a couple times. Told him after the first time I put down the book, I just was like, I wish they made a movie about this. Like, forgetting it's a movie novelization already. Could they remake Revenge of the Sith just based on Mr. Stover's novel? It's just that good.
It is. It's incredible. I mean, even the start of it's totally different and it just
Yeah.
carries right into it's like, wow, man, they knocked it out of the park. Even
Mm.
Terry Brooks's The Phantom Menace.
Mm.
There's not a whole he added bits and pieces here, not like Attack of
Yeah.
the Clones with R.A. Salvatore or Matthew Stover's Revenge of the Sith, but there's still some extra added in there. And it's
Yeah.
cool. They're very good. But besides that, to start, man, there's a lot of it depends on how much you want to read or
Mm.
how deep you want to go down this rabbit hole. Like for myself, it was wild when I realized like there's a whole other world after watching guys like you or Alex or Matt, and then I learned once I Tales of the Jedi, Marcel, like
Yeah.
it's like, wow. If you want to read the whole thing, start at the beginning of the timeline.
Mm.
That's what I started to do. And it was fun. I haven't finished all the way through. I stopped at Race Squadron. That's as far as I got. I stopped
That's
there.
so far through. That's just a lot of books, which
Yeah,
we'll get into maybe some of those specific books in there later, but that's a lot of books from Dawn of the Jedi to Wraith Squadron.
it's a wild amount. I can't believe I've read this much. And then, I started a little book club with a couple of my local friends that I've known for a long time, and we're reading the NJO, which
Yep.
and I'm excited to finally get there because everyone hoots and hollers about that. And I see why now. I'm not done yet, but I see why.
Yeah.
and it's the longest book series I've ever read in my entire life, not including Goosebumps. I don't include them because I read a lot of them. But we're almost done. We're on Reunion,
Yep.
and 2 more to go after that.
So that's Force Heretic Book 3,
Yep,
correct?
that's correct. That is correct.
Very exciting. New Jedi Order's terrific. I'll definitely have some specific New Jedi Order questions to ask you because it's some of my favorite material
All right.
from the EU. But maybe starting kind of, well, we can back up first and then get into the specifics. So,
Sure.
when did you become aware that there was this rabbit hole to
Oh.
be explored? That there was this Star Wars expanding universe. You love the movies, you love the toys,
Yep.
but there's more out there.
Right.
And what made you interested to plunge into the rabbit hole?
Well, honestly, about 2.5 years ago, I had some health conditions. I had something happen, and I needed something. Right, I needed something, so I went back to Star Wars, to the movies. I was watching them, and I remember a few books, coming up. I've seen Shadows of the Empire, and then I've seen Heir to the Empire, and I've read a little bit here and there back then, but like it didn't register.
Yeah.
But then there was Mall Lockdown. I remember being in the store when that first came out. That was 2014, I believe.
Yeah, that one was late, very late.
Yeah.
One of the last EU novels published. Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm kind of backtracking a little bit. And I remember pushing the cart going through the store, and I turned over and I like, what? Mall? And the cover is just crazy.
Yep.
I bought it and read
the
it.
chains and looking so angry.
And I read that. That was like I wasn't reading a lot. I wasn't an avid reader at that time like I am now. And I read it in a few days because it was so darn good. But then obviously that was it. I didn't pay attention. But now fast forward. So I needed something. Went back to Star Wars. And then I really wasn't on YouTube a lot. Like I wasn't like a big YouTube user searching for stuff, right? So I just punched in Star Wars, and then I slowly started seeing things and ran across channels, and then it started to open my eyes. And who was the first one that I used to watch? I'm trying to think. It was Matt, maybe. Some like how they recommend videos.
Yep.
Like videos come up, and then it's like, okay, and it's like, wow, these are nice guys. These are nice people, and it's like they're knowledgeable, and you start reading comments, and they're responding. There's a lot of interaction going on.
There's a community that you
There's
were
a
seeing.
community. And then it just opened my eyes. So then I typed in like book recommendations. And then all of a sudden, boom, you get a bajillion search
You get a lot of
results.
those, yeah.
And you just start watching them. And then one thing led to another. And I just started slowly watching. And then all of a sudden, people are going live, like I'm subscribing. And then that opens up a whole other world because people recommend people or other friends. It's like, wow, these guys, I could fit in with these guys. They're my people.
Yeah.
Like I like this. I felt I needed that safety net, that connection.
Mm.
And it opened and then it's like, wow, then there's comics. That's a whole other the ball of wax that I'm still trying to figure out.
There's a ton of those. So it sounds like the community really drew you into the rabbit hole.
Yeah, it was
and
you guys.
People love the stories.
Yeah.
Made you interested in the stories itself. And that's really fantastic. And that's really a community functioning how it should. Not pushing people away, but bringing people in.
Yeah, and that's what you guys did. And you were all friendly to me and nice, and I would comment and you would respond. And then all of a sudden I find out about Discord. Like I had no idea about a Discord thing happening.
Yeah.
And then I'm getting invited. And then, my kids kind of helped me set up my Instagram because, I just would watch. And at work, I would just probably replay the same videos over and over again, just listen.
Yeah.
It's like, man, I want to be friends with these people. I want to be friends with them.
Yeah.
And
Once you find a sense of belonging, like, well, in today's culture, kind of, it's more accepted that Star Wars was once nerdy, like
right.
Star Trek and stuff like that. Now it's more accepted that you can be a super fan of stuff like this, and that's more mainstream. But still, finding a community of people who love the stuff you love. Once you find that, like you said, these are my people. I belong here. Nothing better.
No, you're right. And what you mentioned, being nerdy back in my time was a bad thing.
Yeah.
You were kind of the outcast. Does that make sense? Like no girls were going to talk to you.
Yeah.
Some of there was always, the jocks or the sports players, which nothing against none of that. I played a little sports back in grade school and I played basketball and stuff, but like that
Nice.
was never my thing.
Yeah.
That was never my thing. I liked video games. I loved watching movies. I'm a big movie watcher. I know you still do the Friday night movie thing with your folks.
Yes, I do.
That's awesome. You got to tell them. I said that's a great thing that they're doing that with you guys, because I try to get my boys to watch movies. It's like classics. Like some movie, they just don't make movies like they used to.
No.
And I try to get my kids to watch, and they're like, "Nah, Dad, I ain't watching. When was this made? In the 50s?" It's like, no. So that's really cool. That you know, that was just me. I wanted to be in Fantasyland. I
Yeah.
wanted to be with my characters or the people I was watching on the
Yes.
screen. That's,
Mhm.
a daydreamer.
We all would just look up at the stars, think that
Yeah.
they're out there, wanna be with them. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
100%.
It made you feel good, you know. I wanted to go to Middle Earth.
Yeah.
I wanted to
Yeah,
be
that
Aragorn.
too. Yeah, who wouldn't?
Yeah,
most of my favorite characters had the long hair,
I know you rock the long hair, man. I tried doing that a long time ago, early in my when my wife used to pick on me. She's like, "You got to cut your hair." I'm like, "No, I want to try to grow it out. I've never had long hair." I look terrible. I look terrible with it.
I think it would look great.
Yeah,
Bring back long hair Stevie and long hair Matt while we're at it. Back when he had the long locks a
yeah.
couple years back.
I noticed that too when I was going through his videos. It's like, what happened there?
There's a blip where he's just got like the big surfer hair
Mm.
all the way out. Yeah. Yeah.
Hilarious.
It was great. Uh so you started after mall lockdown.
Yeah.
You were kind of jumping around a little bit, right? And then you went chronologically. So you made a couple stops before going back to Dawn of the Jedi in between lockdown and Dawn of the
Yeah.
Jedi.
Yeah. Well, that was back in 2014. But when I got back into reading, I repurchased Mall Lockdown because that was how many years, right?
Yeah.
So I didn't have any books. That was a book I knew that I would enjoy and I would find happiness in it because I remembered it,
Yeah.
So I reread that. And then I started reading, I don't know if you've ever heard of the Redwall series by Brian Jakes.
Not heard of it
Brian Jacques?
myself.
No? Well, Google it after this. That was a book I read when I was back in a series in middle school. It's like a fantasy adventure,
Gotcha.
but
Okay.
it's with animals.
Cool.
So there's Martin the Warrior. He's a mouse.
Okay.
It's really
Yeah.
cool. And there's badgers and it's
Oh,
really cool.
awesome. Sounds
Yeah.
kind of like Narnia-esque a
Yeah.
little bit.
Little bit, yeah. Really cool series. So I picked up some of them books and I was reading them and it's like, nah, I'm really feeling the Star Wars thing. So then after YouTubing or Googling book recommendations, it's like Heir
Yeah.
to the Empire. It's like, I remember that rings a bell. So I purchased them and I started reading. Then I read that trilogy and it's like, man, that's really good. And then I was just kind of lost after that. So then I went
Mhm.
back and started. It's like, what other books have Darth Maul in it? Because that was a big character for me, right? And then that's kind of just how I just bounced around. And then I came across my mom actually called me. She was at Goodwill. I think we talked
Yes.
about this on the
Yes.
stream. And she's like, "You're not going to believe this. Somebody just donated all their Star Wars books here." And I was like, "What?" I got like 30 or 40 books for
All for like a buck a
a
piece, right?
buck a piece. Yeah, in great shape.
You
And
got like hundreds of dollars worth of items for
yeah,
like 30 bucks.
yes, yes, and it just blew me away. So I just started kind of reading. I read Bakura.
Mm.
Like that was another one somebody recommended because that takes place right after Return of the like the
Literally
next
day
day.
after, yeah.
So that was cool with the Suruk, and it's cool
Yeah.
now that they just had an issue there
Yep.
back on Bakura with the Suruk, and that was cool to see. So it's like
Yeah.
after watching and listening to you and everyone else, it's like the new Jedi Order grabs pieces from
It
all this
does.
different material that was already the Bantam era books, and it's like it's so wild because right now, what's so fun for me is they're talking about Anakin when he visited Sonoma Seacot, if I pronounce that
Yes.
right,
Rogue Planet.
from Rogue Planet.
Yeah.
So it's like I'm like, oh, I read that. I know what they're talking about. So it's
Yes.
cool. Yeah.
Absolutely amazing. New Jedi Order is like the finale episode to 1977 to 1999 Star Wars. It's like, remember everything we've already done? Let's reference it all and give one
Give
epic conclusion.
Yeah. Oh, I'm waiting. I can't wait to see what happens here. I have no
Yeah.
idea. I don't know any more spoilers.
Yep.
Like I knew a few, but I
Kind
don't.
of hard to avoid them, unfortunately, which is kind
Yes.
of a little bit of a negative byproduct of such an interconnected fandom.
Right.
But
Right. Which
yeah,
doesn't upset me. I'm not mad about it. Like as soon as if I'm watching, I think Alex had a live stream on his birthday the other day, and I was
yeah,
watching it, and he started talking about something, and I'm like, oh, I gotta pause this. I'm not sorry, Alex, but I'm not just in case,
yep,
because it happens. Because these books have been out
yeah,
for a while, right? So I mean,
yep.
it's understandable. And like you said, our group, our community, we're always interacting. And that's one thing I want to say to you, man, is I appreciate your support all the time. You comment. It means a lot to me, truly does. And your knowledge, exactly like it blows my mind how much you know, buddy. It truly does. You're an inspiration, man.
I I appreciate that. I just love all of the interviews you're doing. Getting to learn more about what an author was thinking with this or that is great. Getting to hear all these people's thoughts, it's amazing.
Yeah.
Of course, I'm going to support that.
Well,
Uh, watch it all the time. It's great.
I try, man. I try to bring fun stuff for you guys because you've given me so much. So I
Yeah,
try to return, right?
it's like everyone's like passing little things on Instagram, Discord, YouTube, just throwing cool things at each
Yeah.
other kind of all the time. It's wonderful.
Yeah. It's so much I don't know how to describe it. Our group and our friends,
Yeah.
the community. It's magic. It's pure magic.
Yeah. Absolutely. And it elevates the stories themselves
Yeah.
to me. I think one question I wanted to ask you specifically about Mall Lockdown.
Sure.
Uh, it sounds like it was the perfect book for you as someone who you're saying you weren't really a reader yet, but it you read through it super quick because it's fast paced. It reads like a show
Yeah,
or a
reads.
wrestling match, really.
Yes. It's it's the perfect book for me. I love the way Joe Schreiber writes.
Me too.
He does a fantastic job. All of his books he's done are great.
Yeah.
He just knows how to. I don't even know how to explain it. He just it just connects. It connects
Yeah.
with me. He describes things great. The scenes are great. The characters are great. The descriptions are great. It
Yep. The
all
visuals. Yep.
flows. It and Mall Lockdown to me was like a perfect. I want to say like an 80s, 90s kind of movie style where
Yeah.
Maul's in prison and he's got to fight.
Like
And
that
they're,
90s edge
yeah,
type. Like, yeah,
like
I can
Exit
see that.
Wounds or some Van Damme movie where,
Yes.
Bloodsport or something like that. That's what it is to me. It's like, it's perfect. It's cage fighting in a prison. And that's a cool thing to think about.
That exists in Star Wars. That Maul experienced that before Episode 1. It just makes the movie's cooler.
Yeah.
Uh, it adds perspective and depth, expands the narrative, the universe to what that character is, to how cool he is. And speaking of something like that, I wanted to ask you, now that you're going through New Jedi Order and you've experienced the Yuzan Vong, to know that Maul was fighting one,
The
how does
first
that?
fight.
How is that?
The
Uh,
first fight.
yeah,
He was the champion in the prison and Maul whooped his butt.
yeah.
Yeah. That now to think at that time I had no idea. Right? I had no idea what that species was or what.
How terrifying they
Yeah.
are.
And that's crazy to think that they were around back then.
Terrifying.
Right?
They've been there for so long. They've been infiltrating the galaxy.
Yeah, and you learn that too through the book.
Yep.
You get little pieces of that along the way that they with their Uluk maskers or their cloaking
Yes.
device. Yeah, it's some of the words are hard for me to pronounce because even the names of characters sometimes it's like I gotta Google this to figure this out. Because to me, I want to know the right way to say things or
Yeah.
pronounce it.
Sometimes the audio dramas provide kind of what the creators think, but
Yeah.
we all kind of pronounce some of the names differently. Matt Wilkins has a whole glossary of things that
Yeah.
he says the name his way, you know?
Yep. That's true. Yeah, Kip. Kip was one, or is it Kipe? Is it Kip or Kipe?
Kipper Kite, yeah. Talon, or is it Talone?
Yeah, that's
Uh,
funny. That's the first time I've heard that. Talone. I like
yeah.
that. I do
Talone
like that.
Karad.
That
Yeah.
sounds cool.
So, as you've been exploring the expanding universe via books all the way along, what are some standouts to you? Some of your personal favorites, some that resonated with you. Uh,
Oh boy.
there's so many, and the expanding universe isn't without its couple of duds.
Right.
There's a couple sprinkled in there. So, in addition to that, where would you point to for some that you wouldn't really recommend? I have a feeling I know where you're going to point to on a couple there.
To be honest with you, the only one, well, there's three, we'll say, off the top of my head. One is Children of the Jedi. I don't know what. I need to go back. Okay. I need to go back. Because at the time, maybe I wasn't as heavily invested. And I felt like I had to kind of push through it at times.
Yeah.
Okay.
I get that with that one for sure.
Yeah. Like I had to, it's like, oh man. And I actually remember going back and reading a few pages because I just like spaced off.
Yeah, it's like sometimes it's like skips around and it's like
Yeah.
I fell asleep. What's going on?
So I want to revisit that one day. Then in the new Jedi Order series, I was reading another set of books. Like I was dual reading. So I was reading Star Wars because we're doing the book club. And I read a lot. It's like kind of like if I'd prefer to do that than watch TV at times. And I read at break and at lunchtime at work. So I didn't want to get too far ahead of what we kind of decided we're going to try to read this much in a week. And then because we get together every week. So I picked up and I started reading the Sword of Truth series because that's another book series I've been wanting to read. But that's there's 600-700 pagers. It's like, okay, so
Big
I'll
books.
read that. Yeah. But when I got to James Lucino's duology, I felt kind of lost with that.
Gotcha.
So I don't know if that's because I was really starting to get invested in the Sword of Truth series because it's great. That's another, I recommend that to people. I know it's not Star Wars, but by Terry Goodkind, very good. But like the story of like Droma and the Rin and Han, and maybe it's just because I didn't like Han being kind of a butthead. If that makes sense.
Yeah.
Like I understand what he went through.
Yeah.
But I didn't like him leaving
All
the
shoving
kids
people
and
away,
away,
angry at his kid. Yeah.
Drinking at the pub.
Yeah, I think he had some spice, perhaps from some huts in there as well.
So them two were kind of, but I don't know if that's why, because James Lucino is a fantastic writer.
Yeah,
fantastic, amazing. So I don't know if that's where, I kind of lost it there with them. But like the Children of the Jedi really so far is like the only book I didn't really. I mean, I liked Crystal Star. I really did. I thought it was
It's
fun.
fun.
It's
Yeah.
fun. I know that's another one that's up in the air, but I haven't read all through everything, so I can't. But honestly, man, like every author, every man and woman that's put effort in is
Mm.
good. And once you get invested with the
Yeah.
characters, it's really hard not to not enjoy it, if that makes sense.
Completely agree. I know exactly what you're saying. It's
Yeah,
like, I couldn't not like this if I was trying,
right.
kind of in a way. I've said this sometimes. The highs with the expanding universe are so high, and as you've illustrated, with the duds you talked about, there aren't that many lows,
No,
and they're not that low. So it all in all kind of balances out to be mostly just really good.
yeah. There's a lot of good, like the old Republic stuff. I really, really
Mhm.
liked, like heavy liked.
Yeah,
Deceived was fantastic.
really good. One of my first reads in the EU. Did you did you not I had never played the game going into it. Was that the
No,
same for you?
nope.
So still able to enjoy it despite not
Yeah,
playing the game.
yeah.
Yeah,
That's
I
why I
feel the
kind
same
of
way.
want to get the story of the game too. Now to add to, now some people have done it the other way. They've played the game and then read the book, or
Yeah.
right, they've already had that
Yep.
influence going into it. Where you and myself, we read it and haven't played the game.
Yeah.
But it's just trying to find the time. I know there's probably, I believe there's videos on YouTube that where they've kind of compacted the
Yeah.
story and video
Story
clips and
down,
yeah,
condensed it.
but I still would like to, experience it on the fly.
Me too.
Yeah, yeah. What else did I really? I mean, Red Harvest I thought was great, and it's another Schreiber book.
Really fun.
Yes, very fun. I don't know. I know some people didn't really like zombies and stuff, but nah, man, anything's possible in the galaxy. Let's be real. Let's
It's
be
a big
real. So
galaxy.
why not? Why not? I'm trying to look back, man. Yeah, because it's like I've been reading hardcore. You know
Yeah.
that. You
Yeah.
know that. I've been reading that hardcore. Yeah. Outblown Flight was another fantastic one. That's
That's
a
a good one for sure. Have
Shadows
you
of the Empire.
great stuff. Have you found that they've blended together at all, or have you found that they all really stick out in their own ways? Because you've really been rifling through them. Where
Yeah,
where for people who were originally fans had to wait, for the next one to be published.
I know it. Yeah.
I had weeks between books because I couldn't afford to get new ones all the time. But you've really just gotten to line them up and just charged through them. So have they stuck out in their own ways, or
Yeah.
some of
I
them
would
blend a little?
I kind of read the way I read, I kind of read it as its own entity. Like I take it
Right.
all in.
Yeah.
I think the series so far has blended really. There's maybe a few moments where it was kind of like wavy in the
Yeah.
new Jedi Order series, but like it's kind of flown really like from
It really does.
Trader, when I read Trader, fantastic. But then how Destiny's Way picked it up and went with it in its own way
Yeah.
with the flow was like perfect,
Yeah.
like completely perfect. Yeah, they're all like they all stand out by themselves in my opinion. Like they're all great reads so far. It's like when, like I said, when you get invested with the characters,
Mm.
oh man, it's beautiful. And I love now how it's transitioning from the main characters in NJO, like Luke, Han, Leia. Like they're
Mhm.
still there and they're apart, but now
Yep.
it's kids are taking over, kind of like they're the, and that's
Yeah.
cool to see because I have yet to read Young Jedi Knights.
Mm.
I don't own them all, so I didn't want to like,
They're
what
hard
I
to
mean?
get.
It's you can probably relate. Like if you don't have the whole series, you're not going to want to start it.
No.
No, I'm the same way. So I'm still working on trying to get them
Yeah.
because I do
Hard to
want to
find,
read them.
unfortunately.
Yes.
I think you're gonna love them. They're really fun.
Yeah, and Kevin J and his missus. I mean, I like
Yep.
Kevin J. I like Kevin J. Yeah. It's all been fun, man. I'm just excited, and I'm so thankful for you. I'm thankful for everyone that's in the group. Like, seriously, like, without you guys, like I'd be lost.
We've been so lucky to have kind of guiding hands for us. Matt Wilkins, Christopher Nelson, all those guys who have been there since the beginning, had been reading this stuff when it was coming out. They knew what was good, what maybe wasn't as good, but they knew what was out there, and they were able to, with their videos, really keep it straight and guide me and you and so many others kind of in navigating the rabbit hole, because there's
Yeah.
just so much out there. You mentioned the comics are another an entire other entity. How have you been finding the comics so far?
Well, my whole introduction to that was the Tales of the Jedi with Marcel,
Yeah,
which I got the Epic collections now, finally. I have yet to finish the other Epic Volume 2 because I don't want to read multiple things anymore. No, I'm not doing that. I can manage it, but I don't want to do it when it comes to this kind of stuff,
yeah,
right? So Tales of the Jedi, the droids and Ewoks. I know Matt was talking about that, I believe. One time I overheard him. He
the
said people need
old
to buy the omnibus.
old Marvel Star Wars ones.
Yeah,
Yeah, all
yeah,
those are so fun. I love those so much.
yeah. I'm trying to look over there and see what I got. Old Republic volume. I don't have volume 1,
That one's hard to get, but I heard they're
but it's
reprinting it
coming
soon.
back. Oh, yes, it is. And I already have it pre ordered. Mr.
Awesome.
John Jackson Miller, if you watch this, I pre ordered it because when I met him, he had the hardcover omnibus of it.
Yeah,
And that baby was like $400.
that that's
Yeah,
that's that
I
one up
think it
there.
was like 375 he had on it or something. Like,
Wow.
well, I was like, well, I can't drop that.
Yeah, I would not have it either. I was lucky to pre-order it for way less than that. Comics are unfortunately a bit pricey,
They are.
but there's a lot of fun stuff there. How did you find Tales of the Jedi? Great introduction. Enjoyed the stories there.
Yeah, I thought it was great. I thought the artwork was fantastic. I love
Yeah.
the artwork. I can't think of the artist's name now. I feel terrible for that. It's a
Uh,
lot of stuff to remember.
yeah.
It
It,
is.
it's a mix of several people. Their names are blending together for me. And Chris Gossett, I think, is one of them.
Yeah, it sounds familiar. I know
Yeah.
there's a lot of talented people that do that too.
Yeah.
But through Mark, yeah, through the Legends of the Jedi podcast. After I talked to Marcel, how I met through this whole chain of things through Noah, yeah, because he helped Noah with one of his
The
chronologies.
chronology. Yeah.
Yeah, which I have that too. So yeah, I picked up there, and then I started learning. Obviously, I didn't have all the Tales of the Jedi, right? But so I picked that up, then listening to the Old Republic stuff, the droids and Ewoks. I do have that hardcover, luckily, because they were saying you should buy that while it's cheap because it's going to go up. So I
Yep.
think I got it for like $30.
That was a good price to get
Yeah,
it at.
and great. It's not even open. I got it off eBay, sealed.
Nice.
So that was cool. Yeah. And then I've been just kind of randomly, like if I go to a thrift shop or like a convention, toy convention, collector convention thing. Some people like I got a stack of comics one day for $20, like legacy comics, and the guy was just had a stack of them, and I'm like, well, $20. He's like, okay. I didn't even know what was in there. I just seen some legacy. So there's a big variety of. I think I might have sent you that picture that day I got it. I can't remember. That
I've
was a while
seen.
ago now.
I think you've sent me some comics that you got.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I'm excited, just getting them here and there. The books is kind of I'm trying to finish that collection because I don't own all them. I don't have all the legacy or the fate, and that's coming up. So
Yeah.
the Jedi Apprentice series too. That's another fantastic
Yes.
one. See, there's so much. Like we can talk for hours.
We
So
really
much.
could. The young reader stuff is so solid, which is just so surprising. That stuff for kids is so good, and then the comics have great storylines that maybe they shouldn't, because comics were maybe originally for kids, but they've got
Yeah,
these great storylines in the books and the video games, and
it's just wild. There's so much. I can't believe. And
so
then
much.
like some of my family, they're like, "Wow!" And I'm like, "You guys don't realize how big Star Wars truly, truly is." It's a phenomenon. It's
Yeah,
turned into that. It has turned into that through the years.
definitely. There was nothing like it before or since really done for uh, Star Wars or the expanding universe.
Right.
I wanted to ask, so future reading plans for you. You've done New Jedi Order almost all the way through. In chronology, you stopped at Wraith Squadron. So
Yep.
is the plan to go back and read Wraith Squadron to New Jedi Order, or are you gonna jump to Dark Nest and continue on towards the end of the timeline?
Yep.
Which way are you gonna go?
Dark Nest. We're gonna keep going Dark Nest and then right into and then we'll go back and because I've already read some of these books, which I don't mind rereading some of them because they're great. So we'll have to see. We've actually been talking when we got together Saturday. Excuse me. I had mentioned because we talked about it in the past about because some of you guys have asked me if I was ever going to do videos on
Yeah,
reading my stuff, reading through, and so I might have a podcast with them.
that would be amazing.
Yeah, so they're pretty excited about it. But we're gonna do it so we're all in the same room,
Amazing.
like a round table kind of
Oh,
discussion.
wonderful. The Knights of the New Jedi Order
Yeah,
around the round
so
table.
that might be in the future here because the same day I got in our little group chat, they got a mixer because I wasn't sure how to do. I don't know how to set it up so we don't interfere with microphones with one another. But
Gotcha.
there's like a mixer uh
They
little
can keep
deal.
it all straight.
Yeah, like you plug into it and then you can set it all up. So that might be in the future here on the channel. We'll be doing a little chat about it, just kind of how we do. Like just we get together for about an hour and we just talk about the book and what we thought and certain parts and break it. It's just fun. It's been so much fun. The three of us are having a great time. I mean, we've been friends for years. We all used to play Magic together, Magic the Gathering. I used to be a big player
Yeah,
of that. That was some great times then. So we've known each other for a long, long time. But you get older, you start families, you got other obligations, so you don't get together as much. But this has brought us together too. So that's another thing Star Wars has done
awesome.
for me.
That's truly awesome.
Yeah, it's cool. It's a good thing, man. So yeah, that might be in the future for everyone, and that'll be fun.
Very much looking forward to the possibility of that. Uh, I love talking about New Jedi Order. So, in that vein, a lot of expanding universe fans put New Jedi Order kind of on a pedestal.
Right.
It's up there as sort of the best of what the expanding universe has to offer. Me, Alex, Marcel, Matt, Max, all these people will preach and sing the praises of New Jedi Order. We'll say it's maybe the closest the EU came to being a better storyline than maybe even the movies. So, what have you found in that regard so far as you've been going through it? How's it compared to the movies in its scale, its story, and is it the best the EU has to offer? Is it up there, or has it been overhyped with how we always put it up there on that kind of pedestal?
Great question, man. Great question. I don't think I know you think they're better than the films, if I'm not mistaken, correct? Yeah. Yeah.
Yes,
I think well, to me, the movies are always going to be key.
yeah,
Now, the hype for New Jedi Order, yes, I think so far it's been top.
mm,
Second to that, I would say the Old Republic stuff for me
mm,
is there. Like
yeah,
great storytelling, great characters, development.
for sure.
I feel some of the New Jedi Order books could have been a movie. Like Destiny's Way to me felt like it was a film, just
Yeah,
the way that Mr. Williams wrote it.
mm,
I thought he did a fantastic job. So to
hmm
me, it felt like because I could picture the ceremony, the knighting ceremony with Luke, and he's
yes.
talking to all of them, and they're coming up, and that was so cool.
You can see Hamill delivering those lines that you're reading.
Yeah. And then Vergier just kamikaze and coming to save, and Jason trying to help Jaina. Like the whole,
Yeah.
that would have been a fantastic. Imagine seeing that. Can you imagine seeing that? Woo.
Just seeing the Yuzon Vong and their technology depicted on screen
Yeah.
would be mind blowing.
Or Savong Law getting finally. I didn't think he was ever gonna die. Spoilers, if anyone's listening. Or
Yeah,
even Corn Horn with Shadow Shah, if I pronounce
yeah.
that right.
Shideo Shea, yeah.
Or Shade O'Shea. Okay, thank you. But that moment when he was holding the lightsaber and looking at him, and he just waited that split second, so he knew that this is gonna happen, and he
Yeah.
just that was cool. That was cool.
That final battle was amazing. Uh, what do you think of Ganner Rysod, the Jedi who was kind of not
Oh yeah.
really getting along with Luke at the beginning, but he has this last stand in Traitor.
Oh man.
What did you think of
Phenomenal.
that?
Just bodies. There was mounds of bodies
Yep.
that he was, and Jason was like, "I need to go get him," and he's like, "No." And Vergier's like, "No, he's doing what he thinks he needs to do,"
He's
and
doing what needs to be done. Yeah.
yeah, and that man, wow, just think that's crazy. Yeah, so there's moments that absolutely feel like they could have been on, the big screen for sure,
Yeah.
or even Star by Star even.
Oh, my favorite expanding universe book right there.
I mean, that was my first novel read by Troy Denning, and that was great too. That felt like a story. I mean, that's the big book, but it read great. It was fun. I couldn't stop. Like it was just, it
Yeah.
flowed really well.
It's just these are young characters. There's this tension, like I don't want bad things to happen to them, but I know that bad things probably will with what they're
Right.
facing, and
Right.
I've got to keep reading to make sure they're okay. And then the more you read, the more they're not going to be okay as you're just kind of going through this battle.
Yeah. The Edge of Victory duology. Greg Keyes, another phenomenal. Oh man.
And the birth of the third generation
Yeah.
of
Ben.
Skywalkers.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Man. Yeah, it's good. So I'm curious to see what happens after this. Like I'm excited to get to the Dark Nest, Legacy. So I'm excited for all that. I'm excited.
I'm really excited to hear your thoughts as you continue that journey there. Switching to talk about something that's obviously related, but
Sure.
not entirely in that vein. Your YouTube channel is great.
Thank you.
Why did you start your YouTube channel? What were you setting out to do? And after that, do you have any future plans you want to talk about? You talked already about this New Jedi Order book club and stuff like that. So we can talk about that.
Yeah, well, honestly, I created it just so I can make friends with you guys. That was my initial goal, really.
Yeah.
And that's kind of how it started off. Like I'll be honest, I was nervous as heck because it's different when you're trying to talk to a camera by yourself.
It feels weird.
It does feel weird. You have a great presence when you do your stuff. So like I don't see no shyness in you. So at first I was nervous. I didn't know what. I was just kind of sharing my thoughts, trying to connect with you guys and grow.
Yeah.
And then that happened.
Hmm.
And I felt like that was that I completed what I set out to do because now I have a great group of friends.
Yeah.
That I'm blessed to have, honestly. And then I felt like I didn't know what I could add. I tried doing my own little book review thing, but I'm terrible at that. I'm terrible.
I really enjoyed those.
Well, I appreciate it, but I just like you do great, Alex. You got Matt, who's the legend of the book reviews. Meg reviews, Red
Meg
5
review, she's
reviews.
great. Yeah. Red 5
Adam's great.
Adam, yeah, he's terrific.
He does a great job. So I didn't know what I can do except just add my own thoughts and opinions, but like you guys nail it, and I fumble and mumble over myself. I look back at some of my old videos and I laugh and I'm like, oh man, I can't believe. But it takes time. Nobody just gets on you. Like you got to be. There's a little bit of courage and braveness involved to try to do this. And I got a little more comfortable over time, and then I got the support from you guys that the feedback and the thoughts and the interaction, just having
The
that
engagement.
interaction, the
Yeah.
engagement, perfect word. Yeah. Just and I achieved that.
Mm.
That's what I wanted to be friends with you guys. Like I knew it. I'm like, you're my people. Who said that? Maybe no, that's not the right fandom, but
Look,
you get what I'm saying.
yeah,
So
I shall always be your friend, as Spock tells Kirk
yeah,
with his "Live long and prosper" sign.
yeah,
Uh,
and we share. Yes, I talk to some of you guys on the phone, which is cool because
yeah,
that's a little more convenient for myself. We share each other. We give gifts. We'll say, or hey, I found this. You need this. Boom. We
yep,
all
yep.
kind of look after one another.
Arthur, Eddie, you
Yeah,
sending stuff Eddie's way.
yeah.
All these people, Marcel,
Marcel,
sent stuff around. Man, really generous community.
it
Uh,
is.
makes me kind of emotional, to be honest,
Yeah,
with just some of the kindness on display.
I know, man. It's a beautiful thing. Yeah, like the Dark Empire. Like I wouldn't have that had it not been for Eddie.
Yeah,
So I finally got to enjoy that story of comics as well.
I have 2 action figures on my wall from Eddie.
Yeah.
He sent them weeks before a tragedy occurred, and they
Yeah, that broke my
really
heart for
have
him.
special meaning. They really have special meaning because of that. He's just the kindest human being, and
Great dude.
yeah,
Great dude. I
so nice.
hopefully I can meet you guys one day and Legends Con 2 if it happens, and
Lee, that's something else
I'll
I wanted to ask.
work my best at that. Yeah.
I I see that there's a Legends Con discussion section in your toys video, which I was dying to get to, but I'm watching through it all. And what can you tell me? Are you gonna try to make it to Legends Con 2? Is that at all possible? Will we have Star Wars Stevie in the convention center in 2025?
Yeah, actually I'm going to be on the front stage. I'm going to be the showrunner. No. No. I if it's Midwest in the Midwest region,
Mm,
yeah, I'm gonna try. I plan to be there. Yes,
yeah.
if it's a convenient way for me to get there,
Mm.
I definitely will be there because
If it's in your general vicinity, you're gonna try to
yeah,
make it there.
yes. So Max actually she asked me the same thing. She's like, "You going to Legends Con?" Because I'm going, and I'm like, "Well, I don't know where it's gonna be, but
Yeah,
if it's in the Midwest area and not California, it's doable
yeah,
for me
yeah,
because I can't fly."
yep, yep,
Otherwise, I would have been in California in a second because my wife loves to travel too, and she likes to see new places. So she's all
yeah,
on board. So yes, I will be there. I'll be there, be square, or however you
yeah.
want to term
And
that.
if not this one, definitely sometime in the future.
Yeah,
That
I'm excited for it, man. The first one was great. You guys, I loved watching all your guys' videos, and I felt like I was
yeah,
experiencing it. And they got a great group of folks involved to come out and be a part of it. So Kyle does, Kyle and the group.
cool. Your conversation with Kyle was amazing. I loved it.
Yeah, Kyle's
Loved listening to that. He's a great guy.
awesome guy. We actually talked on the phone. I called the other day. We were on the phone for about 40 minutes. Great
That's
guy, friend.
wonderful.
I just connected with him right off the bat. We're like
Yeah, he has the
solid.
perfect energy.
Oh
Perfect
yeah,
energy.
100%,
Wonderful. Wonderful.
100%. So yeah, so there's that. As far as the channel, I have a few things set up. It's hard. It's hard getting in contact with authors, for one. And
Yeah.
then the way I try to do it is I want them to feel comfortable. I'm not going to ask awkward questions or some like really get deep into something because I don't want them to feel that way. I
Yeah.
want them to feel comfortable and talk and just a nice flowing conversation and have fun.
Yes.
And my conversation with Mr. Williams was afterwards, he's like, thank you so much. This was so much
Mm.
fun. I had, to relive some of these memories. It was it was good. It was good to hear that actually everyone has had a good time, and I don't overdo it. I want
Yeah,
so hopefully other authors will, because these authors all talk to one another. Most of them,
they
they all
do.
know each other. They're
There's
a
like a
group.
little circle above us.
Yeah, it's
Like
like
there's the fans in a circle, and then there's like this authors circle like right
yeah.
above that. You know.
So they talk to each other, and that's cool.
Yeah.
They have a community like we do.
Yep.
So I want them, if they hey, I was on this podcast and it was fun, it was chill, positive. That's how I do things.
Yeah.
And then so there's that. So I'm still working on that. I got some things in the works, but I really had a fun time talking about toys and figures with Maxine. So I feel that we're gonna do more videos together. Like I'll have her on, which will be the co-host, and
Yeah.
we'll talk about figures and collecting and toys, and just every now and then it'll be fun.
Looking forward to that.
Yeah.
You guys in Arthur's videos right now are getting me so psyched up about the toys. I don't have a lot
Yeah.
of them myself, but it just hearing you guys all three of you make talking about this stuff, you can't help but feel excited about it, you know?
Yeah. It's well, after we're done here, I've got some things I can send your way. So
You don't have to do anything like that.
no, I want to. I want to. You're
Crazy
good.
kindness from everyone in this fandom. Wonderful stuff. Super excited about all the stuff that you talked about upcoming.
Thanks,
Uh,
man.
all this stuff. It's really really great. Uh, Fantastic. Loving hearing your thoughts as you're going through the material. You get to kind of relive it as people are reading it.
Yeah.
And one thing you said about the authors, how Mr. Williams thanked you and was just so happy to have talked about it. I just think that what you do is so great when you're connecting to these authors because it shows appreciation to these authors that their work is appreciated and respected and revered. And I just feel like it's important for them to know that their legacy, the mark that they've left has touched us.
Yeah, impacted us. Yeah.
And we can be a bit much.
Mhm.
As Star Wars fans, we can be a bit, oh, we love this and this and this, you know. Sometimes the authors are intimidated. I feel like of us being too excited, and what you
Right.
do great is you, like you said, keep it comfortable, keep it fun, and leave them impacted. And thank you for doing that. Really,
Well, yeah. I'm blown away that they take time out to talk to me, because I'm just a regular guy. I'm just a fan. So
yeah,
it's sometimes it's almost surreal, because they created stuff that we enjoy, like their mind. They wrote, like, I'm super excited to read Supernatural Encounters. Like, I want to read that so bad right now. I
yeah,
really do, because it's Joe is phenomenal. He's an
definitely, yeah.
amazing guy, amazing guy. Another friend
It's
that
amazing.
created, yeah. But they impact. They, like you said, they leave a mark. Like, they mean
Yeah,
and it's just cool. And I'm so thankful that they're willing to take time, and I'm glad that I can share that with you guys.
mm,
Something I can give back to you guys is kind of what I'm doing. That's the channel.
yeah,
It's something for me, but it's for not just for me, it's for all of us.
yeah. That's a wonderful approach, wonderful mindset. Uh, Speaking of thank you of taking time, thank you
Yeah,
for taking the time for this conversation right now. Uh, really appreciate it. Um, and I have one final question that I'd like to throw your way, and then we'll probably wrap up here.
sure.
And that's kind of an overall question. We've talked about how you've gotten into Star Wars. We've talked about the connections you've made, and I've asked this question of a couple people. But for new people, would you say that this rabbit hole that you've embarked on has been rewarding? Would you recommend the deep dive, the plunge into all of this material?
Well, it depends how much money you got. Let's be honest, because
That's the honest answer.
that's the honest answer.
Yeah.
That's like if you really want to get heavily invested, it's going to cost you money,
Yeah.
unfortunately. They are doing they're re-releasing the books with the Essential Legends, so that's like a bonus because
Wonderful.
it's a little more affordable depending
Yep.
on which route you want to go, or if you thrift, like the Thrill of the Hunt video we've done, throw that in
Yeah.
there again. So you can find some books, you can get good deals and such, yeah. And there's eBay and there's obviously stores on Facebook like book smuggler groups or books, where people trade or sell and what have you. But it costs money. Either way you look at it. If you're a toy collector like myself, the figures ain't cheap.
Nope.
Comics are not cheap at all. Not at
No.
all. And if you really want to get some of the great classics of the EU stories in hardcover or that can be pricey. So it all
Lego,
depends
Jedi Order, all that
yeah,
stuff. Yeah.
but overall it's worth it
Mm,
because if you're a fan of Star Wars, it's going to just blow your mind
mm.
because I'm just taken back by it all. I mean, I've laughed at the books. I've cried in the books.
Yep.
There's anything you want. There's scary stuff in the books. There's romance sometimes. It's
Mhm.
great. It's got it all. It's
Yeah.
got it all, and I love it. And I'm so thankful for it. And I'm thankful for you. Thanks for having me on too, man. Like that means a lot because I just like to talk too.
Yeah.
I like to have a good time.
Absolutely. Thank you
Eh,
so much for taking the time out of your day to come on here on my channel to talk about this stuff. I've really enjoyed talking with you, connecting with you,
Yeah,
reaching
man.
out on your channel back and forth. Really appreciate all your support that you've sent my way. I know there's others who appreciate your support too, and just value our conversations that we've had back on your channel, back on my channel. Lots of fun. So thank you very much.
Yeah. Thank you, man. And keep up the great work. You're doing great stuff for us. You're growing, you're getting big. So congratulations on that because you put in hard work. Everything you do and talk about and provide for us. So props to you, my friend.
Thank you for the kind words as always, Stevie. And really excited for what's happening next with Star Wars Stevie. Excited to see where it goes. Thank you everyone for tuning in, for watching. Uh, as Stevie and I were talking about kind of before, not everyone has the attention span for longer videos. So we appreciate everyone who, will watch through,
Yeah.
will watch the longer videos and stuff like that. So thank you to everyone for watching. And yeah, that's
That's
about
it.
it, I'd say.
Sounds good. And we'll see you guys next time. Thanks for having me again, buddy.
Yep, of course.